play accurately. Anyone can play accurately. I live with wonderful expression. As far as the piano is concerned, sentiment is my forte. I keep science for life. Yes, sir. And speaking of science of life, have you had the cucumber sandwiches cut with any broccoli? Yes, sir. Oh. And by the way, then, I see from your books that on Thursday night, when Lord Sherman and Mr. Worthing were dining with me, that 8 bottles of champagne were entered as being consumed. Yes, sir. 8 bottles and a pint. Why is it that at a bachelor's establishment, the servants invariably drink the champagne? I ask merely for information. Well, I often, sir, and in a married household, champagne is rarely a first-rate brand. Good heavens! Is marriage so demoralizing as that? I have little experience of present, sir. I've only been married once. That was in misunderstanding between myself and a very, very young person. I'm not too sure that I'm interested in your family life, Lane. It's not a very interesting subject. I never think of it myself. But very natural, I am sure. That'll be all, Lane. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Lane's views on marriage seem somewhat lax. Really? If the lower orders can't serve good example for us, what on earth is the use of them? They seem as if Baptists have absolutely no sense of moral responsibility. Mr. Earnest Worthing, sir. Oh, how are you, my dear? What brings you to town?
Oh, pleasure, pleasure. What else should bring one anywhere? Eating as usual, I see, Algie.
I believe it is customary in good society to take some slight refreshment at 5 o'clock. Where have you been since last Thursday?
Oh, in the country, in the country.
What on earth do you do there?
When one is in town, one amuses oneself. When one is in the country, one amuses other people. It is excessively boring.
And who are these people that you amuse?
Oh, neighbors, neighbors.
You have nice neighbors and you're part of Shropshire?
Perfectly horrid. Never speak to one of them.
Oh, how immensely you must amuse them. Now, Shropshire is your county, is it not?
Ah, yes, Shropshire. Hello. Why all these cups? Why cucumber sandwiches? Why such reckless extravagance in one so young? Who's coming to tea?
Oh, merely Aunt Augusta and Gwendolyn.
Oh, how perfectly delightful.
Yes, it is all very well indeed, but I don't think that Aunt Augusta will quite approve of you being here.
May I ask why?
But my dear fellow, the way that you flirt with Gwendolyn is perfectly disgraceful. It is almost as bad as the way Gwendolyn flirts with you.
I am in love with Gwendolyn. I have come up to town expressly to propose to her.
I thought you'd come up here for business. I call that pleasure.
Oh, how utterly unromantic you are.
I really don't see anything romantic in proposing. It is very romantic to be in love, but there is nothing romantic about a definite proposal. Why, one may be accepted. One usually is, I believe. Then the excitement is over. The very essence of romance becomes uncertainty. If ever I was married, I'll try to forget that fact.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
Please do not touch the cucumber sandwiches. They are ordered especially for Aunt Augusta.
Well, you've been eating them all the time.
Well, yes, that is a perfectly different matter. She is my aunt. Have some bread and butter. The bread and butter is with Gwendolyn. Gwendolyn is devoted to bread and butter.
True, and very good bread and butter it is too.
Well, you need not eat as if you're going to eat at all. You act as if you are married to Gwendolyn already. You are not married to Gwendolyn already, and I doubt that you ever will be.
May I ask why?
My dear fellow, girls never marry the men they flirt with. Girls don't think it right.
That is perfectly absurd.
It isn't. It is a great truth. It accounts for the extraordinary number of bachelors that one sees all over the place. In the second place, I don't give my consent.
Your consent?
My dear fellow, Gwendolyn is my first cousin. And before I can allow you to marry her, we must clear up this whole question of Cecily.
Cecily? What on earth do you mean, Algie, by Cecily? I do not know anybody of that name.
Bring me the cigarette case that Mr. Worthing left in the smoking room last time he dined with me. Yes, sir.
You mean to say you? Have had my cigarette case this whole time. Well, I wish to God you would have let me know. I've been writing frantic letters to Scotland Yard about it, and I was very nearly offering a large reward for its return.
Well, I wish you would offer one. I seem to be rather usually hard up.
Well, there's no use in offering a large reward now that the thing has been found.
That is rather mean of you, Ernest, I must say. However, now that I look at the inscription inside, I find that the thing is not yours after all.
Of course it's mine. You've seen me with it 100 times. However, it's a very ungentlemanly thing to read what is written inside a private cigarette case.
You know, it's absurd to have a hard and fast rule about what one should and shouldn't read. Half of modern culture depends on what one shouldn't read.
Yes, I know that. But I'm not about to divulge in modern culture. It is not something one should talk of in private. Just give me my cigarette case.
Yes, but this isn't your cigarette case. This case is a present from someone of the name of Cecily. And you have just said that you did not know anybody of that name.
Well, if you really must know, Cecily happens to be my aunt.
Your aunt?
Yes, charming old lady she is too. Lives at Tunbridge Wells.
What if she is your aunt who's at Tunbridge Wells? Why does she call herself Little Cecily? From Little Cecily with her fondest love.
Well, really, what use is there in that? Some aunts may be tall, some aunts may not be tall. That is a matter that merely an aunt can decide for herself. You seem to think that every aunt should be exactly like your aunt, and that is absurd.
Yes, but why does your aunt call you her uncle? From Little Cecily, with her fondest love, to her dear Uncle Jack. Why an aunt, no matter what her size may be, should call her own nephew her uncle? I can't possibly count. Besides, your name isn't Jack at all. It's Ernest.
My name is not Ernest. It is Jack.
You have always told me that your name was Ernest. I have introduced you as Ernest. You answer to the name of Ernest. You look as if your name was Ernest. In fact, you are one of the most earnest-looking persons that I know. It is perfectly absurd right now that you are saying your name is not Ernest. It is on your cards. Here is one of them. Mr. Ernest Worthing, B4, the Albany. I'll keep this as proof that your name is Ernest, if ever you attempt to deny it to me, or to Gwendolyn, or to anyone else.
Well, my name is Ernest, in the town, and Jack, in the country. And that cigarette case was given to me in the country.
Yes, but that is on account of your small Aunt Cecily, who calls you her dear uncle. Come on, boy, what about the thing out at once?
My dear fellow, you talk exactly as if you were a dentist. It is a very vulgar thing to talk like a dentist when one is not a dentist. It produces a very false impression.
Now go on, tell me the whole thing. I may mention that I've always suspected you of being a secret Bunburyist, and I am quite sure of it now.
What on earth do you mean Bunburyist?
I will reveal to you the meaning of this incomparable phrase as soon as you are kind enough to inform me why you are Ernest in town and Jack in the country.
Well, produce me my cigarette case first.
Here it is. Now produce your explanation and pray. Think it's improbable.
My dear fellow, there is nothing improbable about my explanation at all. In fact, it is perfectly ordinary. Old Mr. Thomas Cardew, who adopted me when I was a little boy, made me in his will guardian to his granddaughter, Miss Cecily Cardew. Cecily, who addresses me as her uncle from motives of respect you could not possibly appreciate, lives with me in the country under the charge of her admirable governess, Miss Prism.
Where is that place in the country, by the way?
That is no use to you. You are not going to be invited. But I can tell you quite candidly that the place is not in Shropshire.
Oh, I suspected as much. I have Bunbury in Shropshire on 2 separate occasions. Now go on, tell me that whole thing. Why are you Ernest in town and Jack in the country?
In order to get out of town, I've invented a very useful younger brother by the name of Earnest, who lives in the Albany. Earnest gets to the most dreadful of scrapes. That, my dear boy, is the whole truth, pure and simple.
you were a Bunburyist. In fact, you are one of the most best Bunburyists I know.
What on earth do you mean?
You have invented a very useful younger brother by the name of Earnest, so that you may go up to town as often as you like. I have invented a permanent invalid by the name of Bunbury, so that I may go down to the country whenever I choose. Bunbury is extraordinarily invaluable. For instance, if it wasn't for Bunbury's bad health, I wouldn't be able to dine at Willis's tonight, for I have really been engaged to Aunt Augusta for more than a week.
But I have not invited you to come with me to Willis's tonight.
I know. You are very foolish about not sending out invitations. People don't like not receiving invitations.
You have much better dine with your Aunt Augusta tonight.
I have no intention of doing anything but lie. To begin with, I dine with Aunt Augusta on Monday. And once a week is enough to dine with one's own relations. Besides, now that I know you to be a confirmed Bunburyist, I naturally want to talk to you about Bunbury. I want to tell you the rules.
But I'm not a Bunburyist at all. If Gwendolyn accepts me, I will have killed my brother. At any rate, I think I will have gotten rid of him anyway. Cecily is becoming a little bit too much interested in him, and it is becoming rather a bore. I strongly advise you to do the same about Mr. Oh, your invalid friend with the absurd name.
Nothing will induce me to part with Bunbury. And if ever you get married, which seems to be extremely problematic, you will be very glad to know Bunbury indeed. A man who marries without knowing Bunbury has a very tedious time of it.
If I marry Gwendolyn, and she is the only one in my life that I ever saw that I would marry, I will certainly not want to know Mr. Bunbury.
Then your wife will. You don't seem to realize that in married life, freedom is company and two is none. Ah, that must be Aunt Augusta. Now, if I can get out of the way for more than 10 minutes, so that you may have an opportunity of proposing to Gwendolyn, may I dine with you to Willis's tonight?
I suppose if you really want to.
Yes, but you must be serious about it. I hate people who are not serious about meals. It is so very shallow of them.
Lady Bracknell and Miss Fairfax.
Good afternoon, my dear Algernon. I hope you find you behaving very well.
I'm doing very well, Aunt Augusta.
That's not quite the same thing. In fact, the two things rarely go together.
Dear me, you are smart.
I am always smart. Aren't I, Mr. Earnest?
You are quite perfect, Miss Fairfax.
Oh, I hope I am not that. It would leave no room for developments, and I intend to develop in many directions. I am sorry for your inconvenience, Algernon. I was obliged to come upon dear Lady Harbury. I've not been there since her poor husband's death, and I've never seen a woman so completely altered. She looks some 20 years younger. But now, we'll have a nice cup of tea and one of those cucumber sandwiches you promised.
Oh, certainly, Aunt Augusta.
Come and sit here, won't you, Gwendolyn? Thanks, Mamma. I'm quite comfortable where I am.
Lane, why are there no cucumber sandwiches? I ordered them specially for Aunt Augusta.
There were no cucumber sandwiches in the market today, sir. I went down twice.
No cucumbers?
No, sir, not even for ratsy money.
That will be all day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm greatly distressed, Aunt Augusta, about there not being any cucumbers. Not even for ready money.
It really makes no matter, Algernon. I had some crumpets with Lady Harbury, who it seems is living entirely for pleasure nowadays.
Oh, yes, I hear her hair has turned quite gold from grief.
Oh, yes, it certainly has changed its colour, though from what cause I, of course, cannot say. Thank you. I have a special treat for you tonight, Algernon. I'm going to send you down with Mary Farquhar. She's such a nice woman and so very attentive to her husband. It's delightful to watch them.
I'm afraid, Aunt Augusta, that I'll have to give up the opportunity of dining with you tonight after all.
I should hope not, Algernon. It would put my table completely out. Your uncle will have to dine upstairs.
It is a great bore, and I admit a terrible disappointment to me, but the fact is that I have just received a telegram from London to inform me that my poor friend Bunbury is ill again. They seem to think that I should be with him.
It's very strange. This Mr. Bunbury seems to suffer from curiously bad health.
Oh, yes, poor Bunbury is a dreadful invalid.
Well, I must say, Algernon, I think it is high time this Mr. Bunbury makes up his mind whether he is going to live
can quite assure you that you'll be all right by next Saturday. Now, the music is a great difficulty. You see, when one plays good music, people don't listen. And when one plays bad music, people don't talk. But of course, I will run over the program that I've drawn up for you. Now, if you could kindly come in the room for a little announcement.
Thank you, George. It's very thoughtful of you. I'm sure the program will be simply delightful after a few exhibitions. French songs, for example, I simply cannot allow. People seem to find them improper, and I look shocked, which is vulgar, or loud, which is worse. But German, that sounds a thoroughly respectable language. Indeed, I believe so. Well, you will accompany me? Certainly, Mamma.
Charming day it has been, Miss Fairfax.
Pray, don't talk to me about the weather, Mr. Worthing. Whenever people talk to me about the weather,